even started to notice some of the hair growing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse the sound. That's my kitten. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we get... Oh, come on. Ooh, this kitten is active. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, and toxic relationship advice channel. Yes, I do all things relationship, and I use trial stories, I use crime stories, news articles, different things, and I give my advice. It's dating as teaching tools to help people to date smart and not thirsty. So we're going to get back to this trial right here. And this trial that's going on is Amie Harwick murder trial. Creep, ex-boyfriend, stalker, Gareth Pursehouse, whatever his name is. So we're going to focus on two clips. And the first clip I'm going to show, matter of fact, let me do that as the first clip. The first clip I'm going to show is the body. No, it's not the body cam. It's... Just give me just a second. Let me set it up here so we can do this correctly here. All right, and what you do is you make sure you hit the like button and share your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free. You can find my email address in the description. All right, and we can go from there. If you need coaching in dating, love, relationships, or if you need... you have to speak to me about something, or if you have a viewer's request, feel free. Go with my email. All right, so we're going to get back into this one here, right? Now, the first clip I'm going to show, before we're going to get into this girl on top. Now, this girl that you see on top, he met on a Tinder date. And I think he met her maybe about 2 weeks before he killed this beautiful woman. So she's going to talk about a little bit about when they met and when she went over to his apartment and what was it like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right, here. Now, this clip the first clip I'm going to show you is this one. Ring video shows Amie Harwick's suspect killer, that's that creep that you just see, tampering with the cameras. I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. Help me understand. How do these people think they're going to get away with this crime? Even if you put the camera out, people's going to show that you was walking up to the camera to turn it off. Just idiots. But you know what? I'm glad these people are idiots, because you know why? We can get them off the streets. That's why. All right. And I see you 603. Yes, we have a double-decker today. A double-decker. And there go my girl, Melvia. Melvia's in here. I missed the first video, but I won't miss this one. I'm glad to have you here, Melvia. 603. And Chic B, and I'm glad to see you here. A very blessed God evening to all of you from the UK. Thank you, and blessings to you too. Blessings to you. All right, good to see you again. Oh, to Melvia, and good to see you too. All right, so let's get into this clip here. Now, this clip, I said again, is the Ring video, and it shows this creep turning off the cameras. Again, how do people get away with this? And then the next clip, we're going to get into the girl that he met on Tinder. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like, share me out in your social media, and make sure you leave some feedback. All right? Let's get it.
They were all installed the same day.
And on February 15th, all your cameras installed? And were all your cameras installed about a week before February 15, 2020?
Yes, they were all installed the same day.
And on February 15, 2020, where were you?
I was in Joshua Tree.
And were you with anyone in particular?
I was with my ex-boyfriend.
And while you were there on February 15, 2020, did something happen?
Yes, I received several calls from my landlord at around 7:30 on February 15th.
And who's your landlord?
Damian Montano.
And where does Damian Montano, where was he living at that time?
He lived above me, upstairs.
So did he live closer to the street, Mount Street?
Yes.
And so, what did he tell you?
On the 15th, he called me and asked me if my cameras caught anything. He didn't specify.
Well, let me just state, is based on what he asked you, did you undertake subsequent conduct? Is that what you're introducing for?
Yes.
Did you undertake subsequent conduct after he asked you that question? Did you do something as a result of that question?
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay, we'll go on.
What did you do?
I checked my phone for notifications to see if I had any motion detected from my Ring cameras.
And did you have any motion detected?
Yes.
And about how many videos did you have that showed that something had triggered your cameras?
4 videos, 4 notifications I received.
And now, are these notifications timestamped?
Yes, they are.
And to your knowledge, when you installed the Ring cameras, did you verify whether the timestamp was accurate?
Yes.
And how did you do that?
A friend and myself, we tested the cameras and spoke through them to see just how quickly I could hear, just to see the accuracy.
And did it appear that the timestamp was accurate?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I have in my hand a DVD labeled 2078 Mount Street, 4 videos, date February 14, 2020 and February 15, 2020. May this be marked people's next in order.
Your date?
Thank you. Now, what did you do with these 4 videos from your Ring cameras?
I emailed them to the police that were at my house when I returned from Joshua Tree.
At about what time did you return to from Joshua Tree to your home?
I believe it was around 11:30 or so, and I emailed at 2:45, around then.
When you say 11:30, you mean 11:30 in the morning on February 15th?
Yes.
And then later on, you said at 2:45 you emailed them to detectives?
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Because they were requesting the videos.
Now I'm going to show you one of the video clips, the first one labeled 2051, meaning 851. Ask you if you recognize what's depicted here. Let me see. Was that one of the videos that triggered on your phone?
Yes.
And when I say trigger, what happens on your phone when someone triggers one of your Ring cameras?
I get a notification.
And when you looked at this video, at the time, was there anything you didn't get at the time would not be accurate?
No.
And looking at another video with the title 205242, meaning 8:52 p.m. Do you recognize this video? Do you recognize that video?
Yes.
How so?
It was also another notification I received.
And as far as these Ring cameras, what happens? Have you ever done that? What we see here being done to your camera where someone covers it? Do you know what happens to that, to the camera?
I believe that it stops the motion, it stops recording.
Objection, foundation, speculation.
Sustained at this point. You say you believe. What makes you believe that?
Motion to strike.
It's stricken. So, counsel, go ahead.
Okay. Have you ever tried doing that to the camera?
No.
Have you seen anyone else do that to the camera?
No.
Have you ever had anyone cover your cameras in that way?
No.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
Did you recognize the person that was in those videos?
No.
Did you ever give that person permission to enter your property?
Objection, relevance.
Overruled.
You can answer that.
No.
Did you ever give that person permission to cover up your cameras?
No.
You only play a video clip titled 2053, meaning 8:53 p.m. Let me know if you recognize this video. And do you see the timestamp there at the bottom?
Yes.
Just look at this creep. And someone had left me a comment, and I do record him, so I have to look it up. that this creep that you see, his father was a stalker too. I think stalking his mother. See? In the blood, huh? In the blood. How do these people think they're going to get away with this crap? Are you kidding me? Alright, let's get back to it. We're just watching the ring cam, and then after this clip, I'm going to get into the Tinder date. Hear what she has to say. Alright, let's get to it. Make sure you hit the like, and share me out on your social media.
As far as you were concerned, the timestamp on your camera was accurate.
Yes,
And how do you know that?
based on previous tests of the cameras.
How would you test it?
When I first installed them, my friend and I spoke to each other through the camera and my phone. It was as though we were FaceTiming. It was exact.
Let me play the final video clip, which is titled 0111, meaning 1:11 in the morning. So if your camera's not covered, it will continue to record.
Yes.
Objection foundation.
Sustained.
Okay, now we're going to get into the other clip. We're going to get into the Tinder date. So enjoy the music while you wait while I set it up. Just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here's the loser right here. Here's the loser. Alright, so now, if I'm correct, he met this woman. Well, she's going to tell the story, but it was like maybe about a few weeks before he killed this woman. He killed her on Valentine's Day. Can you believe it? Valentine's Day. Loser. Alright, so he met this woman before, and they was, they hooked up. Mighty fast, too. Lady, stop giving out these cookies so fast. Let a man earn it. Yeah, I said it. Alright, let's get back to it. Alright, let's get into this clip, ladies and gentlemen.
Court, and it read as follows: evidence of Amie Harwick's state of mind regarding her fear of the defendant Gareth Pursehouse has been admitted via Amie Harwick's email to herself and statements to friends for the limited purpose to show that she would not have consented to him entering her home, and would not have consented to him lying in wait. You may consider that evidence only for that purpose and for no other. But no, you may.
I forgot to say, this is day 6 of the trial that this lady was on the stand. Alright, let's get it.
May consider that evidence, I neglected to state, with respect to her state of mind of being in fear. Okay? There you go. All right, you may call your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Angelique G.
The first initial of the last name is G, is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. If you could raise your right hand, face my clerk, please.
Come here, please. This way. You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the cause now pending before this court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell your first name.
Angelique G. A-N-G-E-L-A.
Okay, first initial of your last name is G.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to lean right into the microphone so everybody
Yes.
can hear you. All right, counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Morning.
Do you know someone by the name of Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes.
Do you see him in court today?
Yes.
Could you please identify him by telling us where he's seated and what he's wearing?
Over there, he's in a suit.
Could you describe the color and shirt?
Looks blue and blue.
Blue and blue what? Blue shirt and...
Blue blazer, blue shirt.
Okay, identify the defendant.
When did you first meet the defendant?
About 2 or 3 weeks before Valentine's Day, 2020.
And how did you meet him?
On Tinder.
And for people that don't know, what is Tinder?
It's a dating app.
And you met each other on the actual application?
Yes.
Did you communicate with each other using the Tinder app itself?
For a brief period of time.
Soon thereafter, did you continue your communication via cell phone?
Yes.
In order to do that, do you actually have to exchange phone numbers with a person?
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
And did you actually exchange phone numbers with the defendant?
Yes.
Did you store him in your cell phone number under his name and phone number?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you started to communicate outside of the Tinder application, did you exchange text messages?
Yes.
Did you exchange phone calls?
Yes.
How often would you say you communicated in the 2 weeks prior to Valentine's Day of 2020?
At least once a day.
Can you all hear? Okay, you're gonna have to.
Sorry,
speak a little louder if you can, please.
And that could move a little bit too if you wanted to.
No, scoot up. Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll ask again.
Okay.
Actually, I don't remember my question.
Can you read it back, Madam Reporter? Thank you.
Question, how often would you say you communicated in the 2 weeks prior to Valentine's Day of 2020? And your answer was, at least once a day.
When you say once a day, would that be either by text message or phone call?
Sure.
Now, when did you finally see each other in person after?
You just met this man. He only contacting you either a text or a phone call, one or the other, once a day. Honey, he's not that into you. He's not that into you. Okay, just give my little dating advice because it's about dating and relationships. All right, let's get back to it.
After first meeting on the application?
Maybe a couple days after meeting on the application.
In the 2 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day of 2020, how often had you seen each other in person?
Two to four times.
2 to 4 times?
Yeah.
Now, I know this is an embarrassing question, but I have to ask, were you intimate during any of those meetings that you had with the defendant those 2 to 4 times?
Yes.
So she only been talking to this guy for 2 weeks that she met online. She already gave him her cookies. Wow. You didn't get to know him. You gave your cookies to a man that was getting ready to kill a woman on Valentine's Day. Yep. We gotta do better, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta do better. Resume.
I want to turn your attention to Valentine's Day itself, February 14th of 2020. Did you guys actually communicate on that day?
Yes.
Was that via phone call or text message?
I think it was text.
At this time, Your Honor, the people are holding a series of text messages. It's one page. May that be marked as people's next in order?
68.
I have a personal stylist, and you can too.
Showing you what's been marked as people 68. Do you recognize these series of text messages?
Yes.
Do you recognize these as text messages you exchanged with the defendant?
Yes.
Now I'm turning your attention to a text message that's in green. Are those text messages that you sent or text messages that you received?
I sent those.
And the text messages that have a dark background, what appears to be a dark gray or black background, are those text messages that you received from the defendant?
Correct.
Now I'm pointing your attention to the text message in green where it says, "What are you up to and why haven't you asked me out tonight? Sad face." Is that a text message?
Wow, you gave this man the cookies and you gotta ask him this question? What are you up to and why haven't you asked me out tonight? Wow. This must be really embarrassing for her to be up here. You can't be doing this. No. We don't do this. We don't do this. And he's only texting you, only speak to once a day. It's clear as day. He's really not that into you. He got what he wanted. He got the cookies. He's bouncing. That's it. Yep. She was a pump and dump. All right. Resume.
Message that you sent to the defendant on Valentine's Day.
Yes.
And did he respond to you shortly thereafter?
Yes.
Now, what time was that?
Looks like about 7 p.m.
Can you see it better there?
6:48 p.m. it says.
And what was his response to you?
En route home, I told you I'm busy all week.
Now, did you expect to hang out with him that day?
I did.
And why did you expect to hang out with him on Valentine's Day?
We had been hanging out and I enjoyed his company.
Now, did you find it kind of annoying that his response to you about Valentine's Day was that he'd be busy all week?
Yes.
Did he actually tell you what he was doing that day?
He said he was working on projects with some friends.
Did you find that to be a good excuse to not go out for Valentine's Day together?
Not particularly, but it is what it is.
Now, did you exchange text messages the next day, February 15th, 2020?
Yes.
Now, I'm showing you another series of text messages. When was your first communication the next day?
10:59 a.m.
And what was that communication?
He texted me, "Morning sunshine." I said, "Hi." He said, "What are you up to?"
Now, Morning Sunshine, was that the first communication you and the defendant had on February 15th?
Yes.
So he initiated that communication with you?
Correct.
Now, in response to the defendant's asking you, what are you up to? There was a series of text messages here. Just got back from walking dogs. Think I'm going to ride my bike to the beach in a bit. It's gorgeous out. Oh, and getting quotes for a trip. Is that your response to the defendant?
Yes.
What do you mean when you say, oh, and getting quotes for a trip?
I was looking into how much a trip would cost.
What kind of, like a trip?
Out of to like a vacation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, it's the same.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, and the reasons for those questions is a segue into this. Did you end up seeing the defendant that day?
Yes.
And how did you go about meeting up with the defendant on February 15th, 2020?
I rode my bike on the beach and I stopped by his place.
And how did you go about getting a bike to ride over to the defendant's place?
I got a jump bike, which is an electronic bike that you can rent.
Now, when you talk about a jump bike, is that one of those ride share bikes that you see on the side of the road that
Yes.
you use your phone to ride?
Correct.
And when you do that, you utilize your cell phone, is that correct?
Correct.
And you receive,
Counsel, we laid a foundation for something?
yes,
Okay, I'll give you some leeway.
thank you. And do you receive a receipt as a result of that ride?
Yes, you do.
Your Honor, at this time, the people are holding a receipt of a trip. May that be marked as People 69?
Yes.
603 calling it as it is. And by talking to her on the phone once a day, he keeps her hanging on in case he need another hit. Exactly. That's what it was. That's what it was. She was nothing but a pump and dump, a little something. You know, some guys will pump you and dump you. Well, they'll pump you a few times, then dump you. But he wasn't feeling her. He wasn't at all. You just met this dude on Tinder, and 2 weeks you already giving him cookies, and you texting him, why you haven't asked me out? Oh my gosh, I can't. Well, we have to learn from this, ladies and gentlemen. We're learning from this. And she's a little too old to be dealing with this. That's the point I'm trying to say. It's not no teenager. Oh, overthoughts popped in here. May I suggest the case that Ashley Baskerville? I didn't hear about this one. I think it would fit your channel theme. It isn't so recent though. I have to look that up. I never heard of that one. If you can't, my email's in the description. Email me and let me know this case that you're talking about, and I'll look into it. But thank you. All right, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Showing you what's been marked as People 69. Do you recognize what's photographed here?
Yes.
And how do you recognize that?
That's the route I took to get to his place. It's along the boardwalk.
So is this receipt reflect your trip from your house to the defendant's house?
Correct.
And he lives in what city?
Playa del Rey Road.
I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit. Where my fingers pointed indicates Saturday, February 15th, like 29768, 12:29 to 1:40 p.m. Did you arrive at the defendant's house at 1:40 p.m. as reflected in this receipt?
Objection waiting.
Go ahead. I was just saying, ask the next question.
Can you describe the time frame explain the time frame that's depicted in People 69?
I arrived at his house at 1:40 p.m.
And what does 12:29 signify?
The time I left my house.
So it took you approximately 72 minutes to get from your house in, where was that?
Santa Monica.
To Playa del Rey?
Correct.
Now, what did you do once you arrived at the defendant's house at around 1:40 p.m.?
He greeted me. We went up to his place, and he was doing some work on the French doors at the front of his place, and I helped him organize his apartment.
How long would you say you were in his apartment for that evening, or that day?
Maybe 2 hours.
And what would you say his demeanor was when you initially saw him?
He greeted me, and after that, he seemed sad and distant, I'd say.
Now,
He seems sad and
Distant.
distant.
were you intimate on this occasion when you went to the defendant's house?
No, ma'am.
Did you guys hug or kiss?
I think we hugged, but that's it.
You may have kissed, or you
Maybe.
Was that something that you would have customarily done in the prior times?
It's this thing. Go ahead.
Now, you said you hung out in the defendant's house for about a couple of hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did you guys decide to do anything else aside from just stay at his place?
No.
Was there any conversation about doing anything else aside from helping him organize his house?
At that point, no.
At what point did you guys discuss doing anything else aside from staying home?
Prior to my riding the bike along the boardwalk, we discussed what if we wanted to hang out today and what we would do.
And was this on a phone call?
Correct.
And what was the discussion in regards to what to do that day?
I think we threw out ideas.
Okay, so she just met this dude on Tinder 2 weeks ago, gave him cookies, and now she's over there helping him to organize and clean his house up? Wow, this man is a piece of work. He's a piece of work. Let's get back to it.
I don't recall exactly, but I think he suggested maybe going to the shooting range. I wanted to go to the beach because it was a beautiful day out. And I wanted to be outside. He said he couldn't go in the sun because his skin was sensitive.
Recordings just got better. Hey, it's from StreamYard.
Because I'm sorry, what?
He said his skin was sensitive, so he couldn't be outside. And I think he suggested going to the shooting range after that. And that's, I think, when I said, I'll just ride my bike up to you and teach you how to use the jump bike, because he'd never ridden one before.
Now, while you were hanging out with the defendant in his apartment, did you notice any injuries to him?
Yes.
And what kind of injury did you notice?
There was a bruise under his eye and maybe some scratches on his face.
Did you...
I didn't get that either.
Bruise under his eye and scratches on his face.
Okay.
On his face.
So just so that people can hear you, why don't we try to maybe keep your voice up just a tiny bit?
Sure.
Thank you. You said you noticed a bruise and some scratches. Do you know which eye?
I think it was his right eye. He had a bruise.
I'm sorry, is that to the best of your recollection as you sit here today?
Correct.
Did you ask him about how he got this bruise on his eye?
I did.
And what was his response?
I believe he said he cut himself shaving.
Did you find that response to be odd?
Objection called for irrelevant response.
All right, sustained.
Did you believe him?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
So his response to you asking him about a bruise under his eye was that he cut himself shaving.
Objection, that's an answer.
Well, overruled. There were two injuries, types of injuries noted. One was scratches to his face. The other one was the eye bruise. So you can ask the question. Why don't you ask it again?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
So his response to you asking about how he received a bruise on his eye was that he cut himself shaving.
Correct.
When you say there was a bruise on his eye, did it appear to be a black eye? What kind of bruise?
It looked like a small black eye, correct.
Had you seen a black eye on him prior to that day?
No.
Now, I know you said you hung out with him at his place for a couple of hours. At any point during the time you were with him, did he ever mention that he ran into an ex-girlfriend recently?
No.
Did he mention to you that he actually went to his ex-girlfriend's house on Valentine's Day?
No.
Did he appear distraught to you when he was hanging out with you?
Well, she said appear as opposed to wasn't distraught. I don't know.
No.
In any of the times that you hung out, did he ever mention running into his ex-girlfriend?
No.
Did he indicate any thoughts to you on February 15th when you were hanging out at his house that he was very depressed?
No.
Did he indicate to you that he was at all suicidal while you were hanging out with him?
No.
Yeah, he's coloring. That's what they all do. They just color, acting like they doing something. He blackened his eye by shaving. Yeah. All right. Over thoughts. Is this who you talking about? Let me know. Is this the couple you talking about? Let me know. So I pulled it up real quick. Let me know. Okay, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Did he ever, in the time that he spent with you, express that he was suicidal?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Cross-examination.
Dr. May, I actually have a couple other questions. May we go there for just a moment?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Prior to testifying today, you had a conversation with me today, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you also have a conversation with defense prior to your testimony today?
Yes.
And when was that?
A few weeks ago.
And during your conversation with defense a few weeks ago, were you asked certain questions in regards to your interaction with the defendant on February 15th, 2020?
Yes.
What sort of question was asked of you in regards to what you guys did together on February 15th, 2020?
Objection irrelevant.
Now, in regards to your activities with the defendant on February 15th, 2020, you gave a statement to detectives. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you gave the statement to detectives around the time the defendant was arrested. Is that right?
Yes.
Were you with the defendant when he was actually arrested?
Yes.
Where were you guys going?
He was dropping me off at my house.
And during that conversation with detectives, you indicated to them what you did with the defendant while you guys were hanging out. Is that right?
Correct.
Was that same sort of question asked from you by the defense?
Yes.
Did the defense bring up with you that...
Objection's not a question, Your Honor.
No, I have no question.
It is again going into what the defense asked.
Let me hear the question.
Was there any questioning that was initiated by the defense in regards to the defendant asking you to go to a shooting range?
All right. Sustained.
Withdrawn. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right.
And that question is stricken through, so disregard
Yes.
that. Hello, Ms. G.
Hello.
Let me just get organized here for a second. Oops. Thank you. Okay. Make sure I have everything. See if this stays up here. All right, so I wanted to start by asking you when the first time was that you met Gareth.
It was a few weeks prior to February 15th, 2020.
Do you remember the date?
No.
Okay. And when you met him, what did you guys do?
We went to a comedy club.
And was this for a friend's birthday?
Correct, yeah.
Do you remember who that friend was?
No.
Does the name Corey Soria sound familiar?
Sorry, no.
Okay. And that was at the, which comedy club was it?
The Comedy Store or the Laugh Factory? I can't recall
One
which
of those
one.
two?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you both arrive late and then leave early?
I don't recall arriving late or leaving early. but-
Okay. You just arrived whenever and
Yeah,
left whenever. And do you know approximately the date you first started interacting with Gareth?
Again, a few weeks prior to February 15th.
Okay. So on February 15th, you got this text message, Morning Sunshine, and you decide to take your jump bike and ride to Gareth's apartment. Is that right?
Yes.
And how many times had you been to that apartment?
I think twice before.
Okay. Twice. So this was the third time?
Yeah, either the second or third time.
Okay. And when you arrived, did you find that the condition of his apartment
kind of bothered you?
Yes.
And could you tell us why it bothered you?
It was just disorganized. I think he was doing construction work on his front patio doors, so all of his things were kind of like piled away from that area, and it was messy.
And so you found it very disorganized, and did you suggest that you help him organize everything?
Correct, yeah.
No disrespect to the girl. This is a teaching channel we have to learn from. And some listeners, this is a very desperate girl in dating. Very desperate. And I'm not saying you're desperate because you go online. There's nothing wrong with doing online dating. Have fun. Nothing wrong. Just be careful about it, because you have to be, people say, oh, online dating is so dangerous, so dangerous. I've met some creeps and it wasn't online. So it could be dangerous either way. You just have to be careful who you meet. But she was doing too much in these couple of weeks, just meeting him. She gave him cookies. She's helping him organize his house, clean up, ask him why you haven't take me on a date. And he gonna take you somewhere on a date to accommodate his friend's birthday? I mean, was that the first date? I mean, like, is it supposed to get to know each other before we start doing that? What was it that he was bored that day? He's like, oh, let me just bring somebody because he gonna get lucky. Oh boy. So sad, so sad. She too old for this. Reason.
I'd like to show you some pictures, if this will stay up. When you were at this apartment, do you remember what street it was on?
No.
Do you remember the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Was he in an apartment building, or was his unit attached to a standalone home?
It was attached to a standalone home. It was like the lower level, I think.
So it's kind of like what someone might call a granny flat, or
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Spacious NYC apartments.
So I have a series of photographs I'd like to mark. What's the next one in order?
You're at the double S, so photograph 1 through what?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 photographs.
All right.
D 1 through 9.
Just look at this creep. This is all he does in court. There was times he did lift his head. He was really in tune, just like that crazy one. Satan's daughter, Letitia, stalks. Certain parts, they lift their heads up like, how did you figure that out? How? Oh my gosh. Yeah, they get a little amazed. Like I said, and I'll say it again. How do these people think they're going to get away with it? Especially not now. The 70s, 80s, back then, you serial killers was just having a field day. They was just having a frenzy. Because there was no cameras. Nothing. If you didn't have an eyewitness, you know, it was just easy. 1 to 3. Kill a person, dump the body, and you was good. There was no DNA, no cameras. But now, you got cameras everywhere. Your cell phone pings wherever you at. And if you cut off your cell phone, they're going to question you. Like, well, why was the cell phone off? You got something to hide? You know, it's just crazy. It really is. But these lunatics think. And I just feel so sorry for this woman. Because this woman, Amie, for 8 years dealing with you. Life in fear. And when she seen you at that event, I know her whole heart just dropped. And she trying to calm you down. So you won't show yourself and get crazy. But you did. You ruined my life! So your life is better now that you killed her? You threw her off the balcony? Is it better now? Good luck. Good luck in prison. Reason.
May I use this?
Oh, 603. He was like a photographer. And he did something else, but he was a photographer. And at the last event, this was about a month before he killed her, there was an event. It was an adult film industry event or something like that. And Amie was there because Amie, you know, she's a sex therapist and she, you know, she helps people in the adult industry too. So she was there at the event. And then all of a sudden she bumped up with this creep right here. And he was there to take pictures. And then he come jumping in her face. You ruined my life. I'm still in love with you. I can't. Really? And there was text messages too. I wish I could find those text messages too. There was text message after the event and she was trying to tell him, you know, let's just move on. She was doing everything she could. But she had an order of protection on him years ago. Yes, she did. He slammed her face against the wall or on the floor or something like that, tried to strangle her. Yeah, this is a real nutcase right here. And this woman here that we see on the stand, you that quick to get this man cooked, because you really? Now, I'm not just picking at her. There's a lot of women out here that's doing it. I mean, hey, if y'all want to go out here and giving your cookies out quick, it's you. You're a grown adult. Do you, whatever. But just think about it. And hopefully if you're doing it, use protection. Please. Resume.
Actually, 16 on it. So it's defense deeds 1 through 16.
Double S, 1 through 16.
I'm going to show you what's marked defense SS1. Do you recognize this location?
Yes.
Is that the living room of Gareth's residence?
Yes.
Marked defense double S2. Is this part of the living
Yes.
room?
Yes.
Was this the type of condition that you saw in?
Correct.
This is the other side of that built-in cabinetry in the living room area?
Yes.
Is this the condition you saw in?
Yes.
Why don't you look up? You ashamed?
Defense 4. 3. This is defense 4. Still S 4. Is this the condition?
Yes. Yes.
All right, let's approach you with it.
That was pictures of his apartment that they were showing. It's going to come back on. And also with this trial, it's very short. It's like about 3 hours or whatever. But they do pre-record it because the judge doesn't want it filmed live. I guess everybody can come in and record it. And then afterwards they upload it the next day. So we seen everything like the next day on this trial. Because I couldn't understand why the trial was so short. But when you take away all the breaks and you take away all the lunch and everything, the trial goes by faster. I'm trying to go. Oh, man. Nope, I don't think he was any rich guy or nothing. And I would like to know, how did him and Amie met? And how long was their relationship? Because
S5.
All right.
And the one puts the 6 photos, the 6 additional.
the questions I have about this case, and I have to look it up, I would like to know, how did her and this creep meet? How long was the relationship? And somebody who did commentary, I was watching a video, and they said that they was actually living together. So Amie and the creep did live together. I don't know how long did they live together, or if it's true or not. So I'm curious, how did they meet, how long they was together, and did they live with each other? I don't know. And how long did they live with each other before she ended? So I don't know. Those are questions I really would like to know. And I don't think they really brought it up in the trial. I don't think they did. 603, I don't think they did. All right, let's get back to the Tinder date. Giving out cookies quick.
6 additional photos and plus 16?
No, you said pick 6. So
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. That's fine. Yeah.
Does this accurately reflect the state?
Yes.
There seems to be construction materials. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is this the state of his bathroom?
Yes.
And this is 6. This is 6. Is this the living room again?
Yes.
And that's an accurate representation?
Yes.
7. This is SS8. This is accurate representation?
Yes.
SS9. This is an accurate representation?
Yes.
And last one, SS10. You were in his garage when you went to get into the vehicle to be driven home?
Yes.
Is this an accurate representation?
I suck at sleeping, but I'm not alone.
I don't recall the garage.
So, Ms. Bernstein, I'm just going to modify double S as 1 through 10 as opposed to 1 through 16.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yep. So it's 1 through 10.
Did you remember telling the detectives who interviewed you after the vehicle that you were in with Gareth was stopped? Do you recall telling the detectives that his place was disgusting?
Probably, yes.
Well, prior to testifying today, in addition to speaking with the prosecution, did you get to review the audio tape of your interview with detectives?
I read the transcript.
You read a transcript? And do you recall telling the detectives that Mr. Pursehouse, Gareth had told you that he'd had an excruciating breakup with an ex?
Objection, hearsay.
Interesting.
Well, this witness was asked on direct about this.
Objection,
The question was whether or not he ever mentioned an individual or a prior relationship with this individual. You can ask that.
Well, but he had told you he had a bad breakup.
objection, hearsay.
Okay. Did he ever mention that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll allow that. Go ahead.
So he told you he had this excruciating breakup.
Well, I'll allow the prior answer to stand and let's move on.
Okay.
A bad breakup.
And had you tried to talk to Gareth and get to know him on a deeper level and find it was difficult for him to open up to you?
Somewhat, yeah.
And you said that when you saw him on the 15th, when you went to his place on the 15th, he didn't seem as he normally was. He seemed sad and distant?
Correct.
And how could you tell he was sad and distant?
We didn't chat much, and he was kind of staring off into space, doing something on electrical on the door.
And do you recall saying to me when we spoke that you felt sorry for him and you wanted to be there when he was sad, the same way he'd been there for you when you were sad?
Yes.
You met him online, known him for, what, 2 weeks? And you felt sorry for him and you wanted to be there for him, be supportive? Wow, this man, you got everything. This fast, you got the girl's heart. You got her to take care of you, to clean place, and want to be supportive, and cookies? You creep. I hope now she learned. Pretty girl. So pretty. So pretty. She didn't have to do all that. That's what I'm talking about. Dating thirsty, not smart. You gotta date smart, not thirsty. Melvin, he was nothing. All this promiscuous going on. No wonder it was Sodom and Gomorrah. Ooh. Reason.
I'd like to talk to you about when you left Gareth's place. You had ridden a bike to his home, but you didn't want to have to ride it back. Is that correct?
I was going to ride it back. He offered to drive me home.
Okay.
I like riding bikes. Okay. It's not unusual.
Okay. So he offered to give you a ride and you accepted it?
Correct.
Because you had some friends that you were meeting up with later?
Correct.
And so you and Gareth walked out the back of his residence?
Yes.
And there's like a long flight of stairs that lead through the yard and lead to the detached garage?
Yes.
And his vehicle was in the detached garage?
Yes.
And it was a red Lexus?
Yes.
And so did he open, if you recall, did he open up the garage door with him, or did you go into the garage and he went out front by himself?
I don't remember.
Okay. So then you both did get in the car?
Yes.
And he drove out of the garage?
Correct.
And as you both were driving out of the garage, what happened?
We were blocked in by several cars, and I wasn't really sure what was happening. I think they were normal-looking cars, and then I think a police car showed up at some point, and then they started telling him to get out of the car.
Did they tell both of you to get out of the car?
They asked him to get out first.
And how did they ask?
Sustained.
Did you see any guns drawn?
I don't know the answer. I think that one witness already testified that there were. Were the guns, did you notice any guns drawn?
I don't recall, honestly.
Okay.
Was it scary for you?
Very.
I'll allow the answer to stand.
Could you repeat your answer?
Very.
Did Gareth say anything to try and reassure you?
Yes.
What did he say?
He said,
I'll allow it.
he said, just do what they say.
And did you see Gareth get out of the car?
Yes.
And how was he able to get out of the car?
Through the passenger window, or door or window, I can't remember, but and then he got face down on the ground.
And was that according to the instructions that were being yelled at him?
Yes. Yes.
And the instructions were yelled at him by officers?
Yes.
Yeah, it'll stand. All right.
I'm sorry, it'll
It'll
stand.
stand. Go ahead.
And then after Gareth got out of the car, did you have to get out of the car too?
Yes.
Were you instructed to also lay down on the ground?
Sustained.
Did you lay down on the ground?
Sustained.
Did you see Gareth taken away in handcuffs?
I don't remember. I saw him in the back of a car. I don't recall if it was in handcuffs.
This was a frightening experience for you?
Yes.
Sustained.
Well, Your Honor, she made a statement to detectives afterwards, and I think her state of mind is important.
I think, why is your state of mind important? We can talk about that sidewalk, but that's not, she's already answered previously, it was a scary experience, I'll let that stand.
So you then went, how is it you came to talk to any detectives?
A police officer sat me down on the sidewalk. He wouldn't tell me what was happening. He said, wait for the detectives for your questions. And then a couple hours later, 2 detectives came and talked to me.
So you sat on the sidewalk for 2 hours?
I don't recall exactly how long, but it was a while, yes.
And then where were you while you spoke to the detectives?
I was in their car.
Was it still on that street where the arrest was conducted?
No, we drove, I think, to the impound to get my bag. That was in the car, in Gareth's car.
Okay, so the officers drove you to retrieve your personal property from the car that had been impounded?
Correct.
So you went to the tow yard to do that, and you were having a conversation on the way?
Correct.
Now, when you say you saw scratches on Gareth's face, where did you see the scratches?
I don't recall exactly. There were a couple on his neck and face, if I remember correctly.
Do you remember what side of his face they were on?
I want to say the right side of his face.
Do you remember how many you saw?
Maybe 3 or 4.
Can you describe the scratches? Were they scabbed? Were they welts? Were they red? Any way?
They were red.
They were red? Can you describe how long the scratches were?
Maybe a half inch.
And you don't know how many there were?
No.
Would you say it was more than 2?
Didn't you say 3 to 4?
3 to 4?
Was that your answer?
Yes, that's
Okay. And all on the right side, as far as you can recall?
Yes.
And so those 3 to 4 were all either on the face or on his neck?
Yes.
Do you recall what Gareth was wearing that day?
I think he was wearing orange basketball shorts, and then he changed.
What was he? Was he wearing a t-shirt?
Yes.
A short sleeve t-shirt?
Yes.
And basketball shorts?
Yes.
And that was while you guys were organizing the apartment?
Correct.
And then he changed before he drove you home?
I don't recall when he changed, but yes, that sounds right. At some point he changed from what I saw him in.
Okay.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Did Gareth tell you whether or not he'd ever fired a gun before?
I think he said he'd never fired a gun before.
And do you have experience with firearms?
Yes.
And is that something you had told Gareth about?
Yes.
And had you ever suggested to Gareth that you guys go to a firing range?
Yes.
But on this particular day, Gareth suggested that.
I believe so.
Did that surprise you?
Not particularly.
Did he tell you why he wanted to go to the firing range?
I think it was in.
Did you ask him why he wanted to go to the firing range?
No.
Were you aware that Gareth's father had died recently?
Sustained.
Do you recall Gareth telling you he had a shoulder injury?
Sustained.
Did you ever notice there was a shoulder injury that Gareth had sustained prior to February 15th?
Sustained.
After Gareth, did you see Gareth taken into custody and driven away in a police vehicle?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let you understand. She said it yes previously.
And so you still remained at that location after Gareth was taken away?
Yes.
Did you observe his demeanor during the arrest and transportation away from this location?
I'll allow the question to be asked. Did you observe his demeanor?
Yes.
Okay.
How would you describe it?
Calm.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any regret? All right.
Ms. G, you were asked a series of questions about the defendant's place, and you had responded that he was working on the actual apartment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did he tell you what he did for a living?
Yes.
Did he do construction?
Sustained.
Was he?
I see you, Catherine, creeping through the back door. Blessings. Glad to have you here, girl. Did they meet on Tinder? Yes. They met on Tinder, if I got it correctly, about 2 weeks before he killed that woman. And she gave him the cookies within the 2 weeks. She's at his place helping him to clean and organize. She was doing way too much knowing this man in 2 weeks. And look, he was obsessed over another woman and killed her on Valentine's Day. This got to be embarrassing for her being on this stand. Telling everything. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Already gave him the cookies. God dog. Oh, I better get off. Oh, what you said? You told get off of Tinder. There's nothing wrong with social media, dating people, meeting people online. I don't have nothing against that. Nothing wrong with it. You know, because you can meet a psycho going to your local grocery store. You know, doesn't have to be online, but you just online, you have to be careful. And offline, you have to be careful. Just have to make wise decisions. But this woman was doing way too much, and she was giving up too much. So fast, she just met this dude. What do you say? No more Tinder for you. She said no more Tinder. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I think 603, you have brought up something that you said. Let me show some pictures. I think he was saying because you thought he was getting these women because he had money. No, he had a body before. He worked out big time. See? He had a body before. But I guess being in prison, he's eating good or whatever the deal is. But he was big time working out. Because if you look at the pictures, you can show all the exercise equipment and everything. But he fell off now. Clown. Can't even lift his head up. Can't stand this creep. I can't stand these type of dudes that cannot handle rejection and they cannot handle a breakup. Move on. How the heck can you be obsessed over somebody for 8 years? Dude, you don't have nothing else to do with your life? You don't have anything else to do? Nothing. I know your mother and father know, but what they saying, allegedly, I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up. That his father was a stalker too. Because I was wondering about his mother and father. I'm like, he didn't just have this kind of behavior now. This behavior has been since he was a child. It's just to reach a point now that he killed a woman. And the defense is trying to say is he came over to the house with the needle, with the nicotine, because he was so upset. He wanted her back, but she wouldn't come back. He was just going to kill himself. Yeah, they always got some excuse. These narcs, the sociopaths, they never want to admit that they're wrong and that they kill us. What they did. They don't want to admit to it. He's not going to admit to it. Just wasting taxpayers' time. Oh well. Good luck in prison.
In construction?
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
Well, the first question you would ask about whether you can work is home. That's different, and I'm going to sustain the objection the way this question is posed.
Did he tell you what he did for a living?
Yes.
And what was that?
So that's sustained.
Admission by party opponent, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
What he told her he did for a living? Admission by party opponent, Your Honor.
I understand, but let's approach you. Well, again, no speaking objections. Is that correct? If you stated it that way, if it's not correct, I'm sure this witness will correct you. So,
Is that correct?
I'm sorry, what's
Sure.
that?
Did you have two separate conversations with law enforcement on that day?
Yes.
One was by the curb, is that correct?
Correct.
And one was in a car on the way to get your personal belongings?
Correct.
Now, your conversation with detectives was recorded, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when you were speaking with detectives, did you ever bring up your conversation that you had with the defendant in regards to going to a shooting range that day?
I don't think so.
You were asked on cross-examination whether the defendant ever indicated to you whether he had fired a gun before. Do you recall those questions on cross-examination?
Yes.
Did that ever come up in your conversation with detectives?
I don't think so.
When did that ever come up?
Not at all until I spoke with the defense.
Did Mr. Pursehouse indicate to you that he was dating other women during the time that you were seeing each other in that few-week period prior to Valentine's Day?
No, the film was done on cross-examination. There was a breakup with the prior relationships. Talk about that.
But this is regarding currently.
Currently, did you say? No, at the time that they were
That's correct.
together, I guess. Not a lot of.
He did not say he was seeing anybody else.
Did you assume that he wasn't seeing anybody else during that time?
Yes.
I even started to notice some of the hair growing back at the end of the first bottle.
This has
Anything?
did the conversation about going to the fire range happen between you and Gareth?
Yes.
And you recall that?
Yes.
You didn't make that up to tell the defense?
No.
Thank you, nothing further.
Anything based on that one question? Nothing?
I'm sorry, and you, and it just, defense brought that up with you, not yourself, is that correct?
They asked me about it, and yes, I confirmed.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. Let's call on the witness, if you would.
People call Dr. Neil Benowitz.
Um, 603, you have a point. It was taught behavior. I have to look up this father because I did see it somewhere, and then someone else left me a comment saying the same thing. Learning from his dad. Your dad was a creep, and you became a creep. 8 years, this woman living in fear. You gotta be kidding me. Gotta be kidding me. Alright, I was gonna end here, but let's hear a little bit what this doctor have to say, and then I'm gonna end it, ladies and gentlemen, okay? But I will be doing more commentary on this.
We'll take our break at 11, ladies and gentlemen. You can put it on that chair, sir, if you want. All right, if you can approach the witness, stand down here, please, sir. And before you have a seat, you can raise your right hand.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give is the truth nothing before this court should be the truth, and the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
Neil, Neal, and Benowitz, Benowitz.
All right,
Thank you. Please tell the jury what it is that you do for a living.
Hit the like, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I am a professor emeritus in medicine in the Division of Cardiology at San Francisco General Hospital. I'm an employee of the University of California, San Francisco. I practice medicine. I practice cardiology and medical toxicology.
You practice,
and I run a research laboratory.
you said you practice cardiology?
Yes.
And medical toxicology?
Correct.
And you also run a laboratory?
Yes, I've got a research laboratory that I've run for many years that's basically studied nicotine and tobacco.
When did you obtain your medical license?
1971.
Do you have a license?
Ladies and gentlemen, when he came over there, first he was hiding in her house. She was out with girlfriends, you know, Valentine's Day, spending time with the girlfriends and everything. And he was waiting in her apartment, in her house, just waiting for her. And he had a needle with a lethal dose of nicotine. So I guess they have this doctor on here talking about it. Just sitting in her house, just waiting for her to come. On Valentine's Day. You creep, you're low life, you should have never been born. Another one. Should never been born. And your dad too. I wonder who you stalking. Was it your mother? Your poor mother. Resume.
Certified license as American Board of Internal Medicine.
Right, so that's a board certification. That means I've had training and then been qualified in internal medicine.
What's internal medicine?
That's sort of non-surgical medicine, so any medical illness that does not involve surgery. So heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, any of those diseases are internal medicine.
And have you had that certification since about 1974?
Yes.
And are you certified under the American Board of Medical Toxicology?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So toxicology has to do with drugs or chemicals that cause injury. Like a drug overdose or a side effect of a drug or an industrial spill. Medical toxicology is a specialty of physicians who diagnose and treat people with medical toxicology problems.
And have you had that certification for that American board since about 1981?
Yes.
And do you also have a certification for the American Board of Clinical Pharmacology.
Yes, I do.
What does that mean?
Well, pharmacology is the science of how drugs work. Clinical pharmacology is a medical specialty where people do research on drugs, develop new drugs, study harmful effects of drugs. So toxicology is sort of a subset of clinical pharmacology.
In 2019, did you receive an award for the PLOS biology, that's PLOS biology, top 0.01% of scientists based on impact?
Yes, I did.
And what does that mean?
Well, that award is based, well, first, researchers publish papers on the research in medical journals. And then other researchers in the field may cite these in their own articles as sort of
I'm going to
background
skip
for
him just a little
their own
bit
papers.
so you get to the point.
The citation index, so the 0.1%, is a measure of how many other researchers have cited author in the world. Author in the world.
And are you recognized as an expert in nicotine and its effects?
Yes.
And have you testified as an expert in the use of nicotine to kill people in other cases?
Yes.
And was this back in 2014?
Correct.
You can answer.
You're requesting approach, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Around 2020 to look at reports related to this case here.
Yes, I was.
And was that sometime around October 6th of 2020?
Yes,
And were you provided some police reports related to this case?
I was.
Were you provided photographs of a syringe marked as, not as photo ID number 18, but as property item number 21? I'll show you a photograph.
Yes, I was.
This is, I'm showing people's 29C, and I'm going to show people's 55, actually, people's 24. A. We also provided the reports from a Dr. Maureen Bradley, who had examined that syringe number 21 and its liquids and indicated her findings on a report dated August 26, 2020.
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you provided her findings and her report.
Yes.
And after that, did you write a report as to what your opinion was regarding that liquid, whether if that were injected into Amie Harwick, whether that would be a lethal dose?
I did, yes.
And did you write your report on April 19th, 2021?
Yes.
And we'll get into that. And did you indicate in your report that had that amount of pure nicotine been injected in Amie Harwick, that would have been a lethal dose?
Yes, I did.
And likely to kill her?
Yes.
Were you provided, after April 19, 2021, now going to September 21, 2021, were you provided with the preliminary hearing transcript for Dr. Bradley's testimony on that date of September 21st, 2021?
Yes, I was.
And are you familiar with the FBI laboratory?
Just to that report.
And in reading her testimony, did she indicate that her laboratory could not quantify the purity of the liquid, that her lab would not do that?
Yes.
But that she inferred by using the 99% standard that you used, that she inferred that there was 90 to 100% pure nicotine in that sample?
Yes.
After that, did you suggest to the detectives and LAPD detectives and prosecutor to take that liquid and send it to another lab where they could try to measure the purity of that?
I did.
And which lab did you suggest?
Well, Dr. Alan Wu is head of clinical chemistry at San Francisco General Hospital. He's a UCSF professor, as I am. And his toxicology laboratory is one of the best in the world. And so I suggest they send it to him.
Why would you say his lab is one of the best in the world? You can answer.
Well, he has instrumentation that's able to identify unknown drugs from hundreds of different possibilities. He does excellent analytical toxicology in general. He can measure virtually any drug and quantitate it. And So he would be a good person to do that.
Objection, relevance not being
There is a goddess in all of us, strong as a lion.
Ask your next question.
Yes. And at some point, did you receive a report from Dr. Wu's findings dated August 8th, 2022, where he had analyzed that liquid from that syringe, item number 21?
Yes, I did.
And we provided a copy of that report and its notes.
Yes.
And in that report, Dr. Wu indicate that he found that the liquid from that syringe, item 21, that it was 86.9% pure nicotine.
Yes.
Now, in order to discuss nicotine, its background, its effects, and in general where to find it, have you created a presentation that's demonstrative evidence of what you're about to testify to?
Yes, I did.
And I'm now going to play the slide. Can we go to the next slide?
But before we do that, let's take a break, just so we can start anew. Just out of my own curiosity, nothing to do with this case, what would you say the percentage of people who smoke today?
In the U.S., it's about 12%.
12%, really? It's gone down that much since the 80s?
Yes.
Wow, okay, thank you.
I skipped a little bit. I want to see who's this next person on the stand. We already seen a doctor. He confirmed that was nicotine, a lethal dose. He was there to kill her on Valentine's Day. You low-life piece of crap. All right, let's just listen to this one just for a few minutes because I'm going to end this. I didn't want to stay too long. I really want to focus on the Tinder date, giving out cookies so fast. Oh my gosh. Let's get back to it.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm having just a brief technical issue.
I don't know who this is on the stand, but I see defense is questioning him. Trying to fast forward a little bit.
Save them, right?
That's my understanding.
And that anything not saved by the account holder would be deleted.
Right.
Now, you previously have you told detectives. Let's see. Let's go through this in chronological order. So, we're going to jump forward to 2021. On September 27th, 2021, you wrote Google an email. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And in this email, you indicated that you had submitted a search warrant and that Google had responded that there were no responsive videos, right?
Right.
And so you were reaching out to Google again, and you were representing to Google that you hadn't paid attention to the last page of the letter where the zip file was, right?
Right.
And so you were telling Google, hey, back in February of 2020, I didn't get anything.
I think, yeah, I might have been confused as to what I had been in possession of.
Then on October 4th, 2021, you wrote an email to Detective Carranza, Detective Masterson, Mr. Avila, and the other district attorney at the time, Mr. Dreiling, and you said that you emailed Google and asked why you hadn't received the file that they referenced in the letter, and that this time they attached the files.
Yes.
And you wrote in that email on October 4th, 2021, unfortunately, because Amie didn't have a subscription plan, it looks like it only contains a few files that she saved manually.
Right.
Okay. So that's not entirely true, right? She had a plan that had a 5-day retention period.
I don't know whether she had a plan or... My understanding from Google was that she didn't have a paid plan.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the declaration by the Google facility
Yes.
records?
Okay. May I approach you on it?
Yes.
So you can just scroll down as you're reading.
Oh yeah, okay.
So did that refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
And Google informed you that she had an account that had a 5-day retention period.
That's what it seems to say in that letter, yes.
So that's what they told you in that conversation, right?
Well, that's what it seems to say, Kim.
In the letter.
Yes.
Are you saying that that was not communicated to you in the conversation?
I don't remember.
Hearsay.
Hearsay.
So, on October 4th, 2021, when you emailed the 2 detectives and the 2 district attorneys, you knew that you had received files from Google, right?
I think I had forgotten that I had received them, and then somehow had lost track of them, which is why I requested them again.
And when you emailed Google, you knew that you had had this conversation with this Google employee, and that they had provided these files.
Objection, hearsay.
Yes, it's sustained. And I think he just stated he thinks he may have forgotten that he received them. Is that right? And you were reaching out to them again?
Correct. I believe I forgot that I received them.
Right.
Now, Detective Masterson testified at the preliminary hearing and was asked about this exact issue, right?
Objection, hearsay and foundation.
Sustained.
This is prior to sustainment.
It says sustained, not from another witness, unless it's attributed to that particular witness.
In preparation for his...
That's approach.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it. The 2 things I really want to focus on, I just want to show. But, hold a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this here. But I am going to do more of this trial, more clips of it. But I just want to focus on this woman here that was on the stand. Angela G. Tell me the girl that was on the stand and his girl didn't look like their sisters. They do look similar, don't they? They do. Where we at? You have a point there. Can you believe 603 he was obsessed over for 8 years? You gotta be kidding me. So pathetic. Excuse me. He's truly pathetic. There's no other way to describe him. He's just a point blank loser. He's a creep. And I'm gonna have to look up his father and I'll talk about that one. Because I was saying to myself, the way he is and the way he's acting in this courtroom, it didn't just start. This has been since you was a child. Since 3rd grade. Your mama seen the signs. Oh well. Alright, so stay tuned for some more. But there was also a video I wanted to show about her, so we get to know a little bit about her herself. An interview she did was an awesome interview. And if I'm correct, that was about a year. The interview may have been about a year before she died. Or a couple of months or something like that. Yeah, so sad. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit the like if you didn't hit the like. And also, if you need to reach out to me, look in the description. You will find my email. And like I always say, date smart, not thirsty. Because this woman on the stand, she was thirsty. I'm sorry, girlfriend. You gave him the cookies within 2 weeks. and you text him, you're not going to ask me out? If that ain't thirsty, I don't know what is. All right, ladies and gentlemen. But thank God you wasn't one of his victims, as we have to say. All right, so everybody remember, date smart, not thirsty. Adios.